It's hilarious because everyone literally had the same exact reaction to this story about Nike's sales dropping, profits dropping, and all those things, as you can see from this Associated Press article. And the reaction was, hey, y'all, you might have the answer in house. It could be right in front of your faces. Her name is Caitlyn Clark. Put out her shoes, put out her merch. And I think it led to more of this conversation about what exactly is the delay. Why have we not seen this push and promotion around Caitlyn Clark? Because it was way back in April that the reports came out about her deal, $28 million, which I said at the time was lowball. She should have gotten much more than that. She's worth much more than that. You could see it at the time. But I get it. It hadn't been proved in a women's sports league or in women's basketball, at least. And she got a huge bag before even taking the floor. I think if you were to renegotiate that deal after the WNBA season, you would see that number go even higher because every single metric supports her being the biggest needle mover maybe in sports right now. She's the biggest needle mover I've ever seen, if I'm being 100% honest. So when you look at the ratings and the attendance and the Wilson basketballs and the Panini cards behind me, Panini cards behind me, everything like that, it all shows you, no matter what, the jerseys, it's going to sell. It's going to move quickly, immediately, unlike anything in the history of women's basketball. And probably more so, I would think, than anybody on the men's side. So people are like, what's going on here? And when that allows the imagination to run wild, you're going to get speculation and theories. One of the theories that's been thrown out there is that Nike reacted to the backlash with the noise around Clark and the lack of a shoe for Asia Wilson and everything else that's going on around Clark, and is waiting for that to pass and waiting to promote Asia. And we've seen a lot of promotion of Asia throughout. I have no idea if that's true. I hope it's not true. I really can't imagine that it's true. There was a period of time where you saw Caitlyn with the Kobe's a ton, and that was sort of her version of the signature shoe in the meantime. But why haven't they promoted her? Why the delay? I cannot tell you. I do not have the answer. But, I've compared Clark to a lot of people. Well, one of them has been Michael Jordan. And what did Michael Jordan do? He basically built Nike on his back. And Clark has a chance to do that again in a different way, where Nike's been this giant forever. Now they're struggling a bit, and she can give them that CC stimulus that we've seen work in any forum, any outlet, every single way that something can be tabulated or quantified. Now, again, everybody's talking about it. What's their plan? I saw the Rookie of the Year mock-up shirts that people are slamming. I don't know if those are real, so I'm not going to weigh in on it. Again, I'm not going to say that Nike is delaying because they're scared either, because I don't know that to be the case. My hope is that this was all a plan to wait for the offseason to have everything lined up and then to drop it. Because that can work too. I have some artists I would reference for that. Two of my favorite recording artists ever, Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar. Hove, as he got older in his career, when he was early in his career, he would drop all the time, every year. But as he got later in his career, you wouldn't hear from him until he was ready, and then it would be huge. The marketing would be huge. It would be something you hadn't seen before, and it would, get everybody talking. Kendrick Lamar is the same way, where he has this power and authority as an artist now. He can just drop something on Instagram and everybody talks. It doesn't need the promotion. It doesn't need the build-up. It doesn't need the rollout, because the star of that level. I mean, Taylor Swift. I don't follow her as closely, but we've seen her do that, right? She just says, oh, by the way, I'm dropping an album. And Caitlyn Clark has that level of star power and juice. So perhaps because they know they have to manufacture so many things, because they know they have to have this inventory, because they know they have to get this exactly right. Maybe Nike waited. Maybe Nike signed the big deal, gave her the Kobe's, and thought, the WNBA offseason is long. People associate Caitlyn with college basketball. That's coming up. Iowa sold out all their games. March Madness will be around the corner, which will then lead into the WNBA season returning. Maybe because she's going to have extra time in the offseason and she's not playing basketball, which we know, maybe that can be used for promotion and doing the rounds. The Today Show, the Tonight Show, whatever the shows are today. And you get the point in today's day and age. Whatever the hot shows are, she could go around and do it, and they could launch it like that with a huge announcement, a huge rollout all at once, which is what I'm hoping the case is. Because you would have to think Nike would be, though, companies are very scared. They're very scared of not being seen as politically correct and inclusive. It's something we've seen over the years. They're scared of the backlash that can come. The shame of it is that we're even broaching that as a possibility because there's nothing controversial about Caitlyn Clark or polarizing about Caitlyn Clark other than the people who have attached themselves to Caitlyn Clark or use Caitlyn Clark for engagement or use Caitlyn Clark for their own carnival barking propaganda. So I hope that's not the case. And whatever the reaction with, here's the thing. If you dropped Asia Wilson's product and Caitlyn Clark's product on the same day, we all know what would happen. And I get people say black and white thing, that Michael Jordan never struggled to move merch. LeBron James never struggled to move merch. In the NBA, even Tim Duncan was better than Allen Iverson, but Allen Iverson moved more merch than Tim Duncan because he was more exciting, more relatable to people, whatever the case may be. With Clark, and forgetting what's going on with Asia, I think the white t-shirt thing is a great idea. I said it before it came out. They need to do that because it was organic. The whole outcry about Clark getting the shoes before her, that's not going to help her sell shoes. People be like, why? That's not going to help. The natural organic thing on the white tee could help. But I don't know how many times it has to be said to people, Caitlyn Clark's popularity is not because of the promotion. Everybody said, well, she's out there all the promotion came because of her popularity. Everybody started talking about her more because they saw when you talk about her more people watch, more people click, more people do all that. And when they drop the shoe, more people are going to buy the shoe. If you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you at this point. And you're going to see guys do it, girls do it, kids do it. Everybody is going to want to cop those shoes when they come out. So for everyone to have the same reaction about what's going on with Nike, it's because everybody's right. Now, that doesn't mean they're wrong in the way they're doing it because we don't know. And they're too big a company where I would think they would spite themselves over, what clearly isn't actually in tune with reality. And I hope all these deals work out for everybody. And again, rising tide lifts all boats. Angels got the Reese's deal. I hope that lasts for a long time. You see Paige is out there everywhere. Juju will be up next, so on and so forth. But the big one, the reason she got the big deal, and maybe that, started some of the resentment from various circles, though I don't know if, that applies to the league as a whole, of course. Sue Bird pretty eloquently put it that it was unfair to label, the players as a whole because a few players may have felt a certain way. But it won't be feeling. I referenced Jay before. I'll reference him again. When those Nikes drop, the CCs, what we will see, once again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't.